Just another gorgeous day and evening here in Chicago. Buckingham Fountain, you see downtown Chicago. We're a little north of that at beautiful Wrigley Field. WGN Sports on the U brings you the Cardinals and the Cubs. Great to have you with us. Just two more home games left. Along with Jim Deshaies, I'm Len Kasper. And a win tonight and tomorrow, and the Cubs can have their first winning home season in quite a while.
That's something worth playing for. A couple of wins here against the Cardinals to finish up the home schedule. They'll finish better than 500 for the first time in a good while. 2009, the last time the Cubs had a winning record in their home ballpark, finished 83-78 that season.
So just 5 games to go, and a couple of those starts belong to Kyle Hendricks. He'll go tonight.
Yeah, talking about home, he's been really good here in his home ballpark, as has Jake Arrieta, who goes tomorrow. We take a look at Hendricks, 6 home starts, 4-1 with a 153 earned run average. He's pitched twice against St. Louis this year, pitched really well in both of those games.
Maybe the best starter in the big leagues in September has been Shelby Miller, off to a great start this month.
Yeah, Cardinals got a great start from Adam Wainwright last night. Shelby Miller, like Wainwright, doing his best pitching of the year here in September. Over a more extended period, his last 11, he's 3-1 with a 275.
Cardinals' magic number in the division down to 4. Yeah, under the lights here at Wrigley Field. We'll get it going next.
Working on a 9 move.
Ball brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Ford, manufacturers of America's best-selling brand. Check out our best-selling lineup at your local Ford store or online at localfordstores.com. And by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
Tonight's game is available in Spanish on your SAP audio setting provided by WRTO La Tremenda, Chicago's Spanish language sports leader.
Cubs baseball in high definition is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Here's how the Cardinals will line up according to their manager Mike Matheny. Matt Carpenter at third, leading off. John Jay is at center field, batting second. Great numbers here at Wrigley Field for him. Matt Holliday is in left. Matt Adams will clean up at first. Johnny Peralta plays short. It's Yadier Molina, the catcher, hitting sixth. Randall Grichuk in right. Rookie Colton Wong at second, and the pitcher Miller batting ninth.
Take a look at the Cubs defense. Matt Caesar plays left tonight. Alcantara back in center. Jorge Soler in right. Third to first. Valbuena, Baez, Valleca, Rizzo, Wellington, Castillo behind the plate, and Kyle Hendricks on the mound. Kyle's a 24-year-old right-hander who's been really, really good, making his 13th start. He is 7-2. The Cubs are 10-2 in his 12 starts. He has pitched to a 2.28 earned run average.
James Hoy calls balls and strikes. Mark Carlson, the Joliet, Illinois native, at first. Bill Welke at second, and Paul Emmel is at third. And the first of three Mats in the first four. Cardinal lineup takes a strike from Kyle Hendricks. Shows bunt, takes it outside, 1-1. What a night.
Gorgeous. Couldn't ask for a better night.
One more home game left. That's tomorrow night. Off day Thursday. Season wraps in Milwaukee Friday through Sunday. 1-2. 65 degrees. Basically no wind. Calling it east at 2 miles an hour.
That's barely even a zephyr.
Hendricks gets the sign he wants from Castillo, and the cutter is off the plate inside. Mentioned Hendricks will make one more start. That will be on Sunday. Rest of the rotation has also been set. Some news today: Edwin Jackson will pitch out of the bullpen the rest of this week. Carpenter wafting one into shallow center, and it's a base hit.
This is going to be a fun matchup to watch, Hendricks Carpenter, because Hendricks is such a craftsman out there, and Carpenter such a patient hitter, and just, really hangs in there, gives you a good tough at bat. That was a heck of a pitch Hendricks made. Carpenter out in front, but he gets a little good fortune, a little flare base hit.
Here's the underrated John Jay. Doesn't hit for much power, but is always hit for average. .306 this year, .295 in his career. If you look at his 5-year career to date, JD, you kind of know what you're going to get from John Jay. High average. Good on base percentage. Slug around, 390, 400.
Yeah, and we talked about this a couple of times this year with Jay. He's a guy that it seems like they're always looking to replace, because he's not a power guy and he's not a speed guy. So, you'd love to have a center fielder who could steal a bunch of bases for you, or a guy you could stick in the corner outfield to hit you 25 home runs. He's neither one of those. But what he is a good, dependable, high average hitter. That's kind of the makeup of this team. They don't slug a lot. They don't steal bases.
Well, the type of player he is. I think that what the Oakland A's have done here the last few years is try to fill their roster with guys like John Jay. If you look at his wins above replacement, 2.8, 3.4, 1.4 last year, 3.1 this year. He's not a great player, but he's a good player. And if you have a lot of guys who are good, you don't have guys who are bad, your team should be pretty good.
Yeah.
So, the point is, John Jay is not the kind of guy who's going to hurt you. You're not going to end the season and go, well, they didn't give 600 at bats to John Jay.
It's kind of like if you had a rotation of just good, solid starting pitchers, as opposed to a couple, real top guys at the top of the rotation and some well below average guys rounding out your rotation.
Ground ball, snagged by Rizzo. They get one at second. Relay to Hendricks as Jay went tumbling over, and it looks like he's all right. It's a double play.
And that's going to be a challenge for the Cardinals tonight, because they don't run a lot. They're going to be vulnerable to grounding into double plays when they do get a base runner. Hendricks gets a lot of ground ball outs. So this is a great play, first by Rizzo, then Baez. You see him hesitate just a little bit. That buys Hendricks a little time to get into a better fielding position over there at first base. Hendricks willing to sell out, put his body on the line to make this play. Takes a little bit of a hit from Jay, but he does get the base before Jay gets there.
That could have been bad for both guys. And Hendricks did get his toe on the bag before Jay came crashing through.
Play where a lot of times you see the pitcher get tentative over there around the bag. Doesn't want to get stepped on. Ultimately doesn't find the base. Doesn't get the out.
Matt Holliday, 2 outs, nobody on. He hit the game-winning homer off Hendricks here on July 27th in a Cardinal 1-0 win. One of his 23 game-winning RBIs, leading the majors. Yeah, I mean, the math is what it is. It sounds like an obvious statement, but you know, if you have several what we would call plus players around the diamond, but you have 2 or 3 who are considered negative players, you kind of negate all the good stuff. And that's, I think, what the A's have done. I think a lot of other teams have looked at that. Yeah, it's nice to have a couple of Mike Trouts, but those guys don't. They're
not on Craigslist.
No,
they're hard
not.
to find. You can't just order that up. Go online. So I'd like to get myself a Mike Trout.
Holliday held. And unfortunately, when you look at the Cubs rotation this year, while they've gotten some major positives in terms of contributions from Samardzija and Hamels and Hendricks and Wattas, and Travis Wood and Edwin Jackson have struggled so much. It's negated a lot of that good work as Holliday swings and misses, and that will end the inning. Single, double play, strikeout, and the Cubs are coming up. The 2014 Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity. Alcantara leading off in center. Baez at short. Rizzo, Soler, Valbuena, and Castillo occupy the middle. Valleca plays second. Matt Caesar and Chris Coghlan getting a breather tonight with the pitcher Hendricks batting ninth.
Cardinals defensively, Holliday, Jay Grichuk in the outfield. Carpenter, Peralta. They're in there pretty much every day on the left side of the infield. Colton Wong starts tonight. He did not last night. Matt Adams, the big fellow there at first, and Yadier Molina. And behind the plate for Shelby Miller. Miller's 23. He's right-handed. 6'3", $195. 10-9 for the year with a .368 earned run average. 4 starts in September, as .069 ERA. struggled with command issues at times, but that's been a real key for him lately. No walks in his last 3 starts. He's really pitched well for the Cardinals, perhaps turned a big corner for them.
Strike called on Arismendi Alcantara in the leadoff spot tonight with Chris Coghlan on the bench.
Adam Wainwright carved up the Cub hitters last night with a fastball that sat around 89, 90 miles an hour. Outstanding curveball and just tremendous know-how. Really knows how to pitch. Now Miller Younger not as polished as Wainwright.
Good fastball.
And we'll see how it plays out with Miller on the mound tonight. He's got a fastball that can reach 97 miles an hour. Typically will sit around 94. Curveball change and a cutter.
Just about got that call, but couldn't buy it from the home plate umpire James Hoy.
Mostly a 2-pitch pitcher. Fastballs and curveballs.
Full count 3-2. You can see a lot of life on his pitches. 6'3", 215, 23 years old. And he gets Alcantara on the strikeout.
But first, let me take a selfie.
We'd love to get your selfies. And these are shots. Some are selfies, some are not. Of our WGN crew and their families. Got a good looking group.
There's Paula taking a selfie.
See, that's not a selfie.
No, but I'm not going to rat her out.
Paula Ascrobar, stage manager, with the fake selfie. That's going to be the new thing. The felfie.
We're just a fakie. Send us your fakie. That sounds like something from the Winter Olympics in the half pipe. They're going to do a double fakie. Perfect Nogan.
2-1 on Baez. Miller made his debut in 2012. This is his 31st start this season. Over 100 innings tonight, or 180 innings this evening. 3-1. Rizzo on deck. Big swing and a miss. 3-2. Got him on the riser. That's the pitch Javi's got to lay off. It's so hard to do that. I said it the other night. You know, for him, it's not only pitch recognition but location, and that is not where he does damage. He's a good low fastball hitter. But what's happening right now, JD? It looks like teams are going up with the heat, down with the breaking stuff. He wants the opposite. He wants those mistake pitches. Lined into center for Rizzo. The new career high for him is 142nd hit of the season.
Earns a hug from Eric Hinske down there at first base. Well, yeah, and the other thing, you know, he's just hunting baseballs right now. He's just seeing it and swinging it, and you know he's got to become more discerning if he's going to have success up here. Rizzo out in front of that one. Solid line drive single.
Jorge Soler, 19 games in, he's already knocked in 18. 1 for 4 in the opener. Short lead by Rizzo.
Soler homered off Miller when the Cubs were in St. Louis. End of August.
That's a strike. Cubs 4-4 on this homestand. They've got to win the final 2 to finish the home schedule over 500, as we noted right off the top. 39 up, 40 down here at Wrigley. Next win will be their 70th overall this year. 66 last year.
Well, Hendricks tonight, we mentioned how good he's been here at home. Same for Jake Arrieta. Together, they've made 17 starts here at Wrigley Field, combined to go 9-2 with a 1.57 ERA. Cubs are 13-4 in those 17 starts. So, got a pretty good chance to win these next 2 ball games.
Two. He got him on the high fastball. So the 3 outs, all swinging strikeouts for Miller in the opening inning.
WGNTV.com right now. Click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner. Connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you watch from home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape. Curveball, pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more.
Underway here in the second. Hendricks to Matt Adams. Outside for a ball. It's 1-1. Great to have with us in the booth Randy Wayhofer, voice of the Iowa Cubs. And a guy who's very familiar with pretty much everybody in the Cubs lineup tonight, including the man on the mound. And Randy, welcome to the booth. Congrats on a fine season. Thanks for all of your leadoff man reports. And it's interesting how Kyle Hendricks' ERA seems to go down as he goes up in terms of levels.
He's a special talent and a special guy, and it's great to see him have this early success and really get settled in. And thank you for having me.
So you look around the diamond here. Does this remind you of a game at Principal Park maybe earlier this season?
Yeah, actually, all 9 guys in the lineup within the last 2 years have spent the last 3 years, I guess, with Rizzo and Valbuena from 2012 with significant time in Iowa. So this is fun to watch.
Good changeup. That's his out pitch, and he gets a strikeout. Manny Ramirez, tell us about his work at Iowa as a player / coach, and I know he worked obviously with Baez a fair amount.
He was an interesting guy to have around, and he really was one of the guys. Most of all, I think is the most interesting part to watch it from my perspective. He was out running with the relievers when he first got to the ballpark, and then he would do early work in the cage and take his BP. And I think the best thing that he had to offer was the example.
Tony Peralta will get a new bat.
And I don't know exactly what things he was telling them or not telling them, but I think for a guy who has his resume in his career, the amount of work he was still putting in at 42 years old to maintain his own swing, I think was a great example to remind the young guys of just how hard it is to be a great hitter year in and year out. And I think leading by example probably was as good a thing as anything else that he had to offer the Iowa Cub players this year.
Bounced foul. You're not surprised, I'm sure, to see Javi struggle as he did in the first month at Iowa. When everything changed, what did you notice that he was doing differently?
He was being more selective. He stopped swinging at everything.
JD just mentioned that. Yeah, he has to be more discerning. Yeah,
I think some of that is youthful exuberance, as well as just kind of some natural discipline to learn it at the plate. Kind of finding a balance there.
A chance here defensively. 2 outs.
It can be a great positive and a great negative to be so confident that there isn't a pitch you can't hit hard.
Yeah, and that's a big part of the transition to being a successful hitter at this level, is knowing what you can handle and what you have to disregard. And I've seen it with a lot of hitters over the years, and they tell you, talk to them after a ball game the next day. I can handle that pitch. I can hit that pitch. And no, you can't. And if you can, you're not going to do much with it. So look for something you can handle.
Molina drives one to right. Soler coming over. Foul, just foul. Boy, it gets tricky with the sidewall right there, hugging the line. A strike on Molina. Jorge off to a great start for his major league career.
You could tell there's something a little bit different about the way he viewed the game from the batter's box when he joined us, as opposed to some of the other younger hitters. It seems almost cliche with him to use that word advanced with him at the plate, but I can't think of a better word to describe what he's able to do.
And Chris Bryant, what a year he had. What do you like about him the most?
Steadiness. I think he knows himself at 22 years old better than most young hitters. I think he's had some really good teachers, starting with his dad, to learn his own swing growing up. I think he has a great desire to be really good and the talent to go along with it. And I think you can say that for several of these guys.
Buena will pick it up. Randy, thanks again for all your reports and for stopping by. And you and Paula Ostroba went to the same high school. And look at the notable alums. You're on that list along with Paula. Good work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. They got a bowl game named after you.
JD's baseball blog at WGNTV.com. Sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your nationwide insurance agent serving the area for 36 years. To join the nation, contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. Thanks again to Randy Weyhofer for joining us. In addition to his duties as the Iowa Cubs broadcaster, he ran media relations as well. And he said you just wouldn't believe the amount of media requests for Kris Bryant all summer long. There's a lot on that young man's plate.
Yeah,
and he handled it all very well.
Yeah, there's so much focus on the minor leagues now versus a generation ago. All the prospect lists and all the different publications, and baseball fans are much more clued into who's on the way up than they were years ago. Obviously, when you have a resume like Kris Bryant, you're going to draw a lot of attention.
We're on a 1-1 to Valbuena, and he fouls it off.
Valbuena 1 out of 3 last night. Nice roll here of late, 6-game hitting streak.
We were just told here via Twitter, Drew O'Neill says a fakie is a term in snowboarding.
Oh, so see, that was close. Yeah. Maybe there's something triggered there. Man.
You ride backwards. It's snowboarding with the tail facing in the direction of travel. So it's called fakie. Valbuena draws a walk to start the inning.
They've been doing a fair bit of that lately as well. So first walk issued by Miller in a while. And that has bothered him at times this year, among the league leaders in walks issued.
Castillo, the batter, way out in front, lines it hard, foul, out of play. We had a notable alumni from Alonzo Stagg High School, Brownwood High School, Brownwood, Texas. That's where Shelby Miller went to school. Jerry Don Gleaton, well, the big league pitcher, also went there. As a senior in high school, he struck out 154 in 77 innings.
Shelby did, or Jerry Don?
Shelby did. That's 2 per inning. Gave up 40 hits. 4 no-hitters in high school for Miller.
First rounder in 2012, 19th overall pick.
Long pause before the 1-2. It's high. Yeah, guys with good curveballs. Yeah, you see a lot of high fastballs. Try to change the eye level, then the curve, working that zone vertically.
I was talking to a couple of scouts earlier today about Miller. I've seen him recently, and they feel like he needs to throw his cutter a little bit more. Really finish things off for him.
Castillo gets a hold of one to deep left, and it's gone. It's a 2-run homer. Cubs have their first runs of the series, 2-0.
Probably should have thrown a cutter right there. It was a fastball right there as far as Castillo was concerned. Home run number 13 for Wellington. Early lead for the Cubs and Kyle Hendricks.
Belt high.
Belt high and belted. Well, and he's effective upstairs. Just didn't slip that one by Castillo. It's a risk-reward pitch when you work fastballs at the top of the zone.
Cubs will not lead the league in home runs. The Rockies have hit 179, but they are second in the NL now with 154 on the year in the hands of Valaika. So far out homered the Cardinals this season, even though they're trailing in the season series 10-7 in wins. Miller has now given up 21 homers on the year.
At 29, Chris Valaika is the old guy in the Cubs lineup tonight.
Randall Grichuk puts it away for the first out.
Right now is a great time to plan your 2015 Cubs spring training experience. Go to Cubs.com/Mesa to place a deposit on season tickets and secure the best seats available. Individual spring training tickets will go on sale in January. So be sure to visit Cubs.com/Mesa, and there you'll find all the latest updates.
Matt Caesar playing left. Starlin Castro will not play this week. The ankle injury. There's not enough time left for him to come back. The end is near. Sunday, final game of the season.
I got Sinatra in my head. It's a rivalry week here at the ballpark, and with some Iowa fans.
Curve low and outside. What's the Sinatra reference?
The end is near. Now the end is near. My way.
Strike three call.
Fourth strikeout already for Miller. 3 in the first inning, all swinging. This time it's a looking strike 3 on a breaking pitch. I guess a cutter.
Ground ball by Hendricks, bobbled by Wong, but he has plenty of time to recover, and the inning is over. A Nebraska fan as we go to break. 2-0. to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to WrigleyvilleRooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF. 2-zip on the Castillo home run. Swing and a foul tip by Randal Grichuk. First round pick of the Angels in 09. He's from Rosenberg, Texas. Came over with Peter Borges in the David Freese trade, November 22nd.
There's a big Czech festival every year in Rosenberg, Texas. Grichuk, that might have Czechoslovakian roots, that name.
Fly ball well hit deep to left. Caesar's back on it, and it bangs off that door. Grichuk will easily make second with a double.
Grichuk's been swinging it pretty well lately for the Cardinals. Caesar couldn't run it down. Waits plays the carom, but an easy double for Grichuk. And Hendricks pitched around a leadoff single in the first. See if he can do the same after the leadoff double here in the third. He's got 8-9 due up here, so he's in pretty good shape in that regard.
Here's Colton Wong. Outside, ball one. Left-handed hitting second baseman. 109th game of the year for Wong.
Not a big guy, but strong, has power.
Pitcher Miller is on deck. Stands right on top of the plate. Takes strike two. 1-2.
Cut fastball at the top of the zone. You don't often get that call. Boy, it almost hit his lead elbow.
Right. And it was called a strike. That's how close he stands to the dish. It's a ground ball to the second baseman, Valleca. That'll move Grichuk to third with the pitcher coming up.
Tomorrow night is the final home game of the regular season here at Wrigley Field. The Cubs will take on the Cardinals. First pitch at 7:05. Tickets are still available at a variety of levels in the ballpark, so don't miss your chance to come out on the final night of Wrigley Field's 100th season. For tickets, visit Cubs.com. And if the weather's anything like it was today, it'd be a great night to come out to the ballpark.
Corner man in, they're back up the middle. Miller trying to put a ball in play here. He's hitting 191 as he bounces it foul. Joe Pausbach, nice job.
Lo Vista.
Yeah.
Good try. Hendricks, he's more of a pitch to contact type pitcher. But in certain situations, you're thinking strikeout, and this would be one of them. Trying to get him to offer it that pitch off the outside edge.
Swing and a miss. Got him to chase a bad one. Well, that's what Hendricks needed.
Yeah. And granted, that's the opposing pitcher, but Miller handles the bat pretty well. But Hendricks is just one of those guys. He has such a good understanding of the game and how to execute pitches. You need a ground ball to try to get two. I'll make pitches that'll get me a ground ball. That doesn't mean he's going to get him every time. Need to strike out with a man on third base? I can work that way too.
Still not out of it as Carpenter will stand in. Pretty good chance he'll lead the league in walks. He's got 92. He's 2 behind Giancarlo Stanton, but Stanton done for the year. Didn't miss by much. 2-0.
This is just two really smart guys who understand their jobs. Both being stubborn here. Hendricks doesn't want to give in. Carpenter doesn't want to chase.
Right now there are 2 batters with 100 walks in Major League Baseball. Here to take a stab at it, both in the American League.
Cabrera?
No. We just saw one of them on the last road trip.
Batista?
Yep. 103. The leader's Carlos Santana of the Indians. 108 walks. 3-1. Ryan Howard, the leader in strikeouts. Actually, 2 Phillies pacing baseball. Marlon Byrd with 180. Howard with 183. Ian Desmond also has 180. Mike Trout 177 punch outs. Right on cue, I guess. Carpenter draws his 93rd free pass of the year. Bring up Jay.
Yeah, so clearly Hendricks didn't want to give in there to Carpenter, but you got to be careful early in the ball game. Anytime you put a man on base, obviously you increase the chances that he comes around and scores, and you're still at that stage here just early in the 3rd inning where you're trying to stay away from the big inning. With Holiday on deck, this becomes a critical at bat.
Sinkers outside. And then with a 2-0 count, Castile will head out. Grichuk doubled to start the inning, moved to third on Wong's ground out. Then Miller struck out. Carpenter walked.
Not saying Jay won't get a fastball here, but that's the thing about Hendricks. You can't be guaranteed you're going to get a heater here, 2-0. Even with all the other things, you consider. 2 balls, no strikes. Jay not a power guy, dangerous hitter on deck. So everything says be aggressive with the fastball here, but Hendricks throws strikes with all of his pitches. Like maybe just a little backdoor cutter there. The ability to find the zone with all of his pitches makes him awfully tough.
Rizzo will underhand. He kind of looked around. Where's the best play? Second base. That's where he was headed. And the inning is over. 2-0 Cubs. Brought to you by Xfinity. Has nothing to do with baseball, but it's just fun. The Wallkill New York Mighty Mites. Nobody could get through the banner.
Red Rover, Red Rover. And look at the cheerleaders just cracking
I
up.
want to let go at some point.
Uh-oh, here comes the big guy. Piling on. Now they're just going to have a big bone pile. The cheerleaders are cracking up thinking, girls rule and boys drool. It reminds me of the scene in Animal House when the guy takes the band down into the alley and they just keep going.
Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. There's the 0-1 on Alcantara. It's a strike.
Miller has one of those fastballs. He gets riding action on it, even when it's down around the knees. Usually think of an elevated fastball, that, you know, so-called rising or fastball with hop. He gets that kind of life even when he's downstairs.
Alcantara has struck out both times.
Alcantara, his struggles this year have come with soft stuff, changeups and breaking balls, but he's been beaten by a couple of fastballs now by Shelby Miller.
Baez fanned in the first.
There you go. Laid off that high heater. Yep.
Outside corner.
Didn't have to be.
Swing and a miss. Strike three.
Time he could not lay out the high fastball.
Here's Rizzo. He singled in his initial at bat. On the final vote, made the National League All-Star team. Ground ball into right past Adams. Rizzo 2 for 2.
It's just been a great year for him. Cubs really missed his bat, and they missed him at first base too while he was out with the bad back.
Soler takes it for a strike. Jake Arrieta will get his final start of the year tomorrow night. John Lackey will go for the Cardinals. Arrieta will look for his 10th win. Lackey 14-9. The only way the Cardinals can clinch the division outright while they're still here in Chicago is to win tonight and tomorrow night and have Pirates lose both games in Atlanta. The magic number's 4. Pirates are leading 3-2 over the Braves in the bottom of the 6th at Turner Field. Travis Snyder has hit his 12th of the year.
He's been a very nice support piece for the Pirates this year. Garrett Cole doing the pitching for the Pirates this evening against Alex Wood. Talented young starting pitchers. Emilio Beautiful Face is leading off, playing center field for the Braves tonight.
Oh, nice Lenny Marullo.
That was a highlight of this year.
Yes.
Lenny Marullo,
So good.
old Cub. He was, how was he, 90 years old? Lenny up here?
Lenny's 90.
90 and change? 98?
Isn't he? Up and in.
I think you can still find that on YouTube. Lenny Marullo when he was up here in the booth with us. It's really good stuff. Former Cub. This is the last living Cub to play in the World Series.
I think that's right. 45 World Series. 2-2 on Soler. Rizzo at first. Cubs leading on the Castillo homer. Ball 3. Valbuena on deck.
And 97, Lenny.
Are you talking to me? Or?
No, not Lenny. Well, I am talking to you. I was referencing Lenny Marullo.
You talking to me?
Talking. Get the sign, realign the bone chips. Go to work.
Rizzo takes off. Strike 3 got him on a fastball. And Soler could not pull the trigger. 2-zip Cubs. Schedule tomorrow night to wrap up the Wrigley Field portion of the 2014 schedule, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Milwaukee we'll have the final 2 games on WGN. Ford, go further in any one of Ford's many fuel efficient vehicles. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. Kyle Hendricks been terrific everywhere, but especially in this ballpark. Cubs need a good outing. Their team ERA has kind of taken a beating here lately. As Holiday goes down to get it, shallow center. Valaika is out, and he one-hands it. They gave up 1 run in the 3-game sweep against Cincinnati last week. But since then, going into tonight, 35 runs, 7 per game, and losing 4 of 5 to the Dodgers and Cardinals. And the team ERA is up to 3.97.
5.29 is the team ERA in the month of September. It's the highest in Major League Baseball.
Now ball to Valaika, playing in shallow right. Adams is 0 for 2. And a reminder to stay tuned for the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Our bud, Tom Dreesen, will sing the stretch.
Maybe that's why I had Sinatra going in my head earlier.
Right? It'll be the grounds crew from the field, as is always the case, the final regular season home game of the year. 1-0 on Johnny Peralta. Smacks it on the ground foul. So Sandy Alderson gets an extension through 2017. Terry Collins is back next year, and based on some of the Twitter reaction, sounds like Met fans are not too happy about that.
Well,
but Met fans being happy probably it's hard to come by no matter what.
Mets are currently 4 games under 500. Actually had a pretty good year. I don't think anybody had high expectations for that club.
No. Well, let's put it this way. Fans don't care, but the result is going to be basically the same as the Yankees. And their payroll is what? Way less than half?
Probably.
Peralta
Look at this
swings and misses to end the inning. You like that one?
Oh, I like everything about this guy.
And let's give a warm Cubs welcome to First Sergeant Hawkins. The Cubs and Bank of America thank you for your service, sacrifice, and dedication.
First Sergeant Melissa Hawkins, assigned all over the world, including a deployment in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Currently employed at Athletico Physical Therapy, where she has worked for 8 years. Great to have her at the ballpark tonight.
And to answer your question about the payroll, according to Cots Baseball Contracts at the Baseball Prospectus site, Yankees payroll $197 million this year, and the Mets $84 million. So.
1-0 on Valbuena. Leadoff walk in front of the Castillo 2-run homer in the second. So if they can do a repeat here in the fourth.
It's an interesting dynamic. I mean, it's part of the job. Every manager knows that when they go in. You're hired to be fired. You know, it's only going to last so long. But it's interesting that, you know, I mean, your job is a pretty important deal. And people just, it's kind of cavalier. Fire that guy. Get rid of the bum.
Yeah, it's a pressure cooker, especially in New York. I think Terry Collins has handled it pretty well. And there were some questions when he got hired. What, 12 years after his last job?
Yeah. Well, and that was, you know,
because of his temper.
Right. That was the reputation he had earned in the game of being kind of, you know, he's fiery for sure, but at times, I guess, to a fault. And, you know, he has said publicly, hey, I learned from those mistakes in the past. You have to cut managers a little slack. I mean, there's so much pressure. I mean, they're invested every day. You know, starting pitchers and managers, the won-loss records kind of get hung on them. The starting pitcher, you only go out there every fifth day. Manager, every single day you're out there, and you're measured by your wins and losses.
You know, we don't see the Mets that often, but yeah, you'd be hard pressed to say they didn't win because of Terry Collins. And Sandy Alderson, one of the things he said was the team has played hard for him all year. One of the big reasons he's coming back. Hit hard, but foul by a couple of feet.
You know, it's funny, in some respects, managing's gotten easier with all the advanced metrics and all the analytical work that's being done, because, you know, if you buy in as a manager and the front office says, we think this makes sense, you can do one of two things. You go, okay, I agree with you, and that's what we're going to do. Or you can kind of lobby, say, okay, I agree with you to a point, but still let me trust my gut.
Jay gets to the spot for the out.
The managers, like the players, have more information at their disposal than ever before.
Yep. It's good information to have, and I'm sure Shelby Miller will try not to throw the ball right where he did the last time.
Yeah. Looked like a two-seam fastball that he wanted to get in on his hands, and it was right out over the middle of the plate.
I think it's gotten harder to manage and do things kind of by your gut.
Yes.
Don't you?
Well, I think it's harder, but like I said, I think because of all the information that's handed down to you, if you buy into, you know, we want to shift on this guy, we want to platoon, we want to use this guy against this pitcher. I mean, it's all right there. All the numbers are presented to you, so you can take it and go, okay, there's our plan. Let's run with it. Now the challenge is managing the players, the guy who has to sit on this given night, who feels like he's an everyday guy, but the data says, well, you know what, tonight you need to have a day off because my information says, you know, you can't handle this guy's sinker or whatever. You know, we're going to put our shortstop over in the hole, and we're going to put our second baseman on the other side of the infield, and the pitcher says, wait a minute, that's not really what I want to do. So it's managing players and dealing with all the new information.
Good cutter for his 8th strikeout. So Valaika with 2 outs. A couple of jersey notes. Best selling baseball jersey of all time is number 2. Derek Jeter, according to Majestic Athletic. That's not a big surprise.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's a little uptick lately.
And Monet Davis, Little League superstar. Nice play. Adams, her jersey's going to the Hall of Fame. Big City, Matt Adams with a terrific play at first. 2-0 Cubs.
Your team week. The Fighting Illini will duke it out against the Northwestern Wildcats. Support your Big Ten school and receive a special Cubs t-shirt featuring your school colors. The Big Ten rivalry promotion is only available through Cubs.com/special events. Be part of the Big Ten fun.
Cut and a miss by Molina. A curve from Kyle Hendricks. Ohan just shutting him out through 4.
He throws strike 1 frequently, but he does it with a lot of different pitches, and he's not just throwing fastballs over the heart of the plate. He's hitting corners. His curveball. Yeah. Batting average against him when the 0-0 pitch is put into play is 220 something. Typically hitters, when they put the first pitch in play, hit for a very high average. Speaks to his ability to locate.
Pitch was elevated a little bit. Right center. Alcantara on the move. Makes the waist high grab.
Little drama, but ultimately put away by Alcantara. Either guy could have made a play on that ball. Alcantara takes charge. Soler yields. 1 out.
Hendricks went to Dartmouth. ERA at Iowa this year was .359, down to under 2.3 in the big leagues. Popped up near second base. Baez at the last second. Two quiet outs. Here's Wong. Should say one quiet out. Molina hit his ball pretty hard. Curve is low.
Colton Wong 2 hits away from becoming the 5th Hawaiian-born player to have 100 hits in a season. If Hawaiian baseball players was a Jeopardy category, would you call for it, or would you go for like potpourri? Are you strong in your Hawaiian baseball trivia?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm strong, but yeah, I would take a shot at it. Change up, hopped into left.
Hendricks isn't going to let us. He's just going to get everybody out in a hurry.
Some time. Season doesn't end until Sunday. 2-0. Airlines Wrigley 100 moment, game 163. Cubs beating the Giants and heading to the playoffs in 1998. It was on this date. Southwest Airlines, without a heart, it's just a machine. Tyler Houston and Mark Grace with the embrace. Kyle Hendricks shutting out the Cardinals through 5. It's 2-0. As Matt Caesar takes a strike. All right. Hawaiian baseball trivia.
Yeah, so
$200.
the note is,
what do we got?
Colton Wong is closing in on a 100-hit season. Name the other 4 Hawaiian-born players to do that.
That's deep. It's gone. How about Matt Caesar? It just kept on carrying, and it's 3-0. Number 2 for Matt.
They got number 1 in Pittsburgh. A towering drive right down the left field line. This time more of a line drive in the power alley. Good carry. Good backspin delivered by Caesar. You see it there. The finish. How about that? Home runs number 21 and 22 allowed by Shelby Miller this year.
Hendricks benefiting. All right, so how many guys do I have to come up with?
Just want to make sure he doesn't hit a home run on this pitch. 4 guys
with 100 hit season.
Yeah, Hawaiian born players.
Ground ball, base hit. How about Benny Akbayani?
Yes, he did it in 2000.
How about Shane Victorino?
Yes, he's done it. He did it 8 times.
See, I'm thinking of a lot of pitchers from Hawaii, like Ron Darling and
Sid
Fernandez, Scott Feldman from Hawaii.
Well, there's 4 that have done it, and you've gotten 2, so you've already got a passing grade.
Give me a hint on the other 2.
Like one is active.
One is active.
Yes. Ooh. And the other guy did it in the 70s. In my mind, I see this guy more as a pinch hit type player, but obviously he played enough to have a couple of 100+ hit seasons.
Team?
Player? I'll give you position. Active player is a catcher.
Oh, Kurt Suzuki.
You are correct. And the 70s player did it in 71 and 73.
Probably not going to get it.
And I have him with the Braves. Mike Lum. Well, Mike Lum spent some time with the Cardinals as well, I believe.
The 0-2. Alcantara fouls. Homer single to start the inning.
Now, Mike Lum had a number of years in Atlanta where he was more than a part-time player. Never was a Cardinal, so I was wrong on that front. He was a Brave and a Red. Played a long time. He was a Cub at the end of his career, 1981.
I would not have gotten that. Shallow left. Holiday's under it. Cubs baseball brought to you by Budweiser. Do we have the read? Where is it?
The official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds.
It looks like my desk at home.
It's right here. It was under here. Under
the home office
paper.
in Honolulu.
Great times are waiting.
I think we would have had it memorized by now. Rising fastball missing on Baez.
Grab some Buds.
Grabbed some Buds after the game last night with the radio crew over at Murphy's. Thanks to Matt, Pat, Kate, Beth, everybody over at Murphy's had a good time. Cut and a miss.
Baez going through this stretch here. Not only is he chasing bad pitches, but he's missing hittable pitches too. He's pulling an awful lot of balls that he's got to clearly be frustrated. Pitches he feels like he should be doing something with.
Molina says he's okay. was the 106th anniversary of the Fred Merkle game. The infamous base running gaffe involving the Giants and the Cubs. 1908. 3-2 the count. Tough to send Hendricks here by as a big-time strikeout candidate.
And no chance Hendricks is moving here.
Ball 4. Get into the holiday spirit a little early and support Cubs charities by being part of our holiday tradition. Purchase your limited edition Chicago Cubs Christopher Radko glass ornament. Ornaments are $60. All proceeds will benefit Cubs charities. Visit Cubs.com/ornament for more information. Double switch time for the Cardinals. That'll be it for the starter Miller. We'll be back. GN Cubs. Kenny Lyles with the selfie. Some of them are, some of them are not. Let's say that's not, right? Paul Carey. That looks like one. Jim Tianis and his son. Oscar Taveras now into play right and will hit ninth. Part of a double switch. And Tyler Lyons is in to pitch to Anthony Rizzo. First and second, one out. Cubs leading 3-0.
Mike Matheny playing the matchup game here, bringing Lyons in to face Rizzo. The lefty is 0-4 with a 4.50 ERA. 10 big league games this year.
Strike called.
Not a hard thrower. Good breaking stuff. He's faced 36 left-handed batters this year, allowed 3 hits in those plate appearances.
Foul tipped, 1-2.
Final week of the season playing out like a playoff series for Mike Matheny. Cardinals playing really good baseball, but not able to get much separation from the Pirates. So he's down 3, trying to minimize the damage. So may have caught a break there.
You watch Lyons pitch. The adjective that comes to mind, at least for me, is long. 6'4", 200. All arms and legs coming at you. And a strike and a swing and a miss for out number 2.
Yeah, he has real arm action, doesn't he? So advantage gained with bringing the lefty in to face Rizzo. Now swings in Soler's direction.
Sharply hit grounder to Peralta. It'll feed Wong at second, and the inning is over. Matt Caesar led off the inning with a home run, and it's 3-zip Cubs.
And you say Shot City, Shot City, Shot City, I'm coming home again.
Using the home run ball tonight, Castillo and Caesar. Sending Shelby Miller out of the game early. There's Oscar Taveras. First plate appearance tonight, just came in to play right. Happy 34th birthday, Mark Bush, here tonight with his brother Jim. Softly placed into left center. Returned by Taveras. Leadoff single.
The most popular way to follow the September pennant races is with MLB.com @bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, the MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Get at bat for your smartphone or tablet on the App Store or visit MLB.com. Carpenter, a very patient hitter. Every now and then he'll try to ambush you early.
Not that time.
Not that time.
He was singled and walked. Happy 23rd birthday to Ritz Hoffman for Fred and Grant. The rotation for Milwaukee, for the Cubs in Milwaukee, Jokic, Wada, Hendricks. We've seen a fair amount of Eric Jokic, but not as a starter.
Three hits for the Cardinals tonight, 2 of them soft. A little flare by Carpenter to get the ball game started. This one here by Taveras. Bit of a blooper. The Grichuk double in the 3rd was well struck off the wall and left.
Hendricks set at the belt. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball, lined, center field, and the Cardinals in business. And Alcantara had a little trouble. Taveras to get an extra base. Single and an error.
The Cubs have been sloppy lately. Misplays, sometimes whether it's a speedy guy going down the line or a guy will force an error. They've had some sloppy plays lately. This time Alcantara's peeking up, trying to read the base runner, and forgets to catch the baseball.
Chris Bosio on the bullpen phone. The bus at the other end. Who's it going to be? About a play. Justin Grimm. Almost hit him. John Jay, believe it or not, has been hit 20 times this year, most in the majors. Ground ball. Diving stop, Valaika from his knees. He'll get the out at first. A run is in. Taveras scores, but a badly needed first out. So Jay will get an RBI. It's 3-1.
The Cardinals break through. Hendricks gets his ground ball, but obviously there's only one play to be made there, and Valaika does a nice job getting that out at first base.
Carpenter now in scoring position. Here's Holiday, 0 for 2. Before he bats, Chris Bosio will head out to the mound. Well, Bob Shepard passed away at age 99 in July of 2010. His final game as a public address announcer at Yankee Stadium was September 5th, 2007. But his voice has lived on. Introducing Derek Jeter. But that will end this week, as Jeter will go into retirement. So will
Bob,
the voice of the voice of God. Some nice pictures from tonight. Foul strike on Holiday. We're wondering who the PA voice of the new Yankee Stadium is. It's former Rays broadcaster. That one way up and in. And guy used to work here in Chicago, Paul Olden.
Action in is the game plan against Holiday for the Cubs right-handed pitchers. That one got away from Hendricks a little bit up around the head. Power numbers much better for Holiday in the second half of the season. Lack of power from Holiday kind of been an ongoing story in St. Louis for much of the year, certainly in the first half. But slugging .518 since the All-Star break, 13 home runs in the second half of the season in 222 at-bats, compared to 6 home runs and 339 at-bats before the break.
They chased one. Let me correct myself. Paul did not, I don't think, work in Chicago, but it was in Chicago. He was covering the Dodgers for an LA station. He asked Tommy Lasorda the question about Dave. He said, "What's your opinion of Kingman's performance?"
The famous viral audio tape of Tommy going off.
So, he hit 3 home runs. What do you mean, what's my opinion of his performance? That's going to tie it. A line shot homer, Matt Holliday, 3-3. Not much doubt about it. A rope into the bleachers. It's all of a sudden tied.
Yeah, boy, and Holliday had some big hits against the Cubs in the series. Last month in St. Louis, fastball up around the nose didn't intimidate him. He stayed in there and delivered his 20th home run of the year.
Boy, it had some hair on it, no question about it. And that'll be it for Hendricks, who will leave here in the 6th. And you see what Holliday has done against the rookie this season. We'll be back to Wrigley Field in a moment.
From 5-2 with a .380, working for the 71st time. Had some struggles early in the year, but the last month and a half or so he's been really good. Hendricks really good again tonight. Little misfortune here in this inning is Taveras base hit was softly hit. Probably caught a little too much of the plate with the 0-2 breaking ball to Carpenter. And then Holliday got him. But all in all, another solid effort for the rookie.
Adams lines, and it's knocked down by Soler. Good thing he didn't let it get it by him. It would have been probably 3. Instead, it's a hard hit single. Well, I don't know if it's any consolation. I'm sure right now it wouldn't be to Kyle Hendricks, but not everybody has a great game. Felix Hernandez tonight went 4 2/3, gave up 8 runs in Toronto and a 10-2 loss.
Well, we saw that Toronto team. They get going. Got a lot of firepower.
There's Peralta. Was late on 95. One and one. So the Pirates could clinch at least a wild card spot tonight. The Reds beat the Brewers 3-1. The Pirates lead at Atlanta 3-2 as they head to the bottom of the ninth. So if that score holds up, they're in the playoffs. What a collapse by the Milwaukee Brewers. First place for most of this season, April 5th up until the final day of August. The Cubs beat the Brewers to start September to knock Milwaukee out of first place, and they haven't been there since. They're going to go home empty-handed completely. Now they're 80 and 77.
7 and 13 here in the month of September. Mostly on the bats. They've pitched pretty well. They just haven't scored.
Yeah, I mean, if they go 83 and 79, it's probably where a lot of people thought they would be when the season started. Not us, though. We thought they'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
We were right for 5 months.
Yeah, we're mostly right.
2 down. Here's Molina. So we thought that 3-game series would have some meaning in terms of the playoffs this weekend, and nope, be the case.
The brats will still taste good. Brewers have scored 53 runs here in the month of September in 20 games. That's not very good. So 14th in the 15-team National League. Better only than the Atlanta Braves. Speaking of collapse. Atlanta 4 and 15 in the month of September.
I should say, you know, the Giants still could be caught by the Brewers, but they'd have to lose every game the rest of the way, and Milwaukee would have to win out. So, not officially. Ground ball, Molina into right. His first hit this evening.
Scalzo is going to hit here.
Pitcher spot.
Molina pretty adept at getting on top of that high fastball, and that's what he does there. This little ground ball single. Wesley Wright is cranking it up in the Cubs bullpen.
It's low.
Well, left-handed hitters hitting a 183 against Grimm this year.
Dane Perry of CBSSports.com. We might get that Wright and Wong matchup that I think we saw earlier this year.
We did.
Actually, he gives credit to Jeff Passan from Yahoo. There we go. Okay. Jeff Passan from Yahoo Sports reporting that John Schuerholz has offered John Hart the permanent GM job in Atlanta. So Hart brought on an interim basis. Apparently, if he wants it full time, he's got it. John Hart is 66.
I say he takes it.
Meaning he should or he will?
I will. I'm betting that he will. Been out of it for a while. Had a lot of success in Cleveland. A chance to do something there in Atlanta. His old buddy John Schuerholz.
Descalzo pops into right center. It'll be Alcantara to end the inning. Damage done though. The big blow, a 2-run homer by Holiday to tie the game at 3.
Fan cam. Weezer with Memories Tweet and send us your Cubs selfies at hashtag WGN Cubs, and we may use them in our fan cam. Seth Maness, the sinker baller, takes over for the Cardinals, working for the 70th time. He's been a busy man. He's been good. 6 of 3, 269.
Wong will get Valbuena. 3-3 tie here in the 6th. That guy's done a lot of damage against the Cubs this year. Matt Holliday. Castillo, 2-run homer, 2nd inning. Struck out in the 4th. Pirates are in. 3-2 the final. Cole over Wood in Atlanta. Bounce to 3rd. Dropped by Carpenter. He has time to recover and make the play. Key there, just not to panic. You've got the catcher running, and that's exactly what Carpenter did. Didn't panic.
Comes up empty initially, recovers, and gets him.
Johnny Cueto did get his 19th win in that Cincinnati victory over Milwaukee's 19-9. So he's got one more start and a chance to be the Reds' first 20-game winner since Danny Jackson, 1988. And the first Reds right-hander since Sammy Ellis, 1965.
Hard chunking Sammy Ellis. Maness barely making contact with the pitching rubber. Time he's ready to deliver the ball, just a little bit of that back foot is touching the pitching plate.
In the hole, backhanded Peralta, stretched by Adams, out at first. What a play by Peralta, and Adams at the other end, and the Cubs go down quickly in the 6th. Miller got knocked out in the 5th inning, and he was down 3-0. Wellington Castillo and Matt Caesar with home runs, but the Cardinals coming back with 3 in the 6th, 2 on a home run by Matt Holliday to tie it off Kyle Hendricks. Start something special with great leases and low financing on a new Honda. Visit shophonda.com or visit your local Honda dealer. Here's Neil Ramirez, hard-throwing righty, to face Colton Wong here in the 7th.
And the numbers from Ramirez are solid. This is his 48th appearance. He's got a 1.55 ERA. A little bumpy of late. He's allowed runs in 2 of his last 3 appearances, including a 2/3 of an inning against the Dodgers the other day, in which he gave up 5 hits, 5 runs, only 1 of which was earned.
Our friend Tom Dreesen is here. We'll sing the stretch. Always great to have you back at the ballpark, sir.
It's good to be back here, and I worked Caesar's Palace many years, but it never was spelled SZECHUR.
Every broadcaster who comes to Wrigley this year, they're like, how do you say this name?
Yeah. Yeah, you could take a lot of guesses before you came around to Caesar on that.
It is Caesar's Palace tonight.
Yes.
Wrigley Field, yep. So what's new, Tom?
Well, I'm in town to do a few things. I'll give you a couple of cheap plugs. I'm doing a show Sunday for Our Lady of Victory to raise some funds for the church Sunday at 3 p.m. And if you want to go, here's a cheap plug. Call 708-341-1588 and talk to Mary Beth. And it's for a good cause. It's called Comedy and Cocktails, which I'll supply the cocktails.
Gotcha. That's Sunday?
This Sunday,
Sunday.
The 28th. Yeah.
Okay. That's low on a fastball. It's 3-1 on Colton Wong.
Got my golf tournament Monday in Bolingbrook, September 29th, the Tom Dreesen Suburban Invitational out in Bolingbrook, and then a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm doing here in Chicago. It's good to be in town. I'll be here for the next 16 days.
How's your game this summer?
I won some money from the guys last Friday and Saturday, but they got me the weekend before. We have a real good money game out on the West Coast.
3-1 in the air. Should be no problem for Alcantara. Your favorite golf course in the world?
Well, it's hard. It's hard to not say Pebble Beach. I play in the tournament every year in the AT&T in Pebble Beach, and those courses up there are great. But Pebble is really. But I've always liked Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, Edgewood, and Lake Tahoe. That's just every hole looks like it should be on a postcard. You know, great golf course. And I'm a member at Lakeside out on the West Coast, and I think Lakeside is one of the in better shape than any course in Southern California today.
So how often do you play?
If I could, every single day. Yeah, if I could. You know, comedians work at night. That's the great part about our career, you know. But I do play. I play. You know, whenever I'm home, I'm on.
That ball thumped by Oscar Taveras, but it's going to be caught. And it died out there as Alcantara made the catch. And 2 away.
But I'm looking forward to you two guys announcing a World Series game in 2016. I really believe that's going to happen. I've been talking about that today, but I really believe it's going to happen.
2016, yeah. I mean, I think this team should be better next year. You're going to see more of the kids. This offseason will be very interesting. Whether the Cubs add to their rotation, I think they will. And yeah, they should just be getting better and better.
I'm going to go to spring training next year and scout it out.
Have you been to the new ballpark in Mesa?
No, I haven't.
It's beautiful. You'll love it.
I'm taking a gig there in March in Mesa at a new club there, and called the Laugh Factory, and I'm going to purposely, I want to see what they're bringing in next year. I really believe that next year, second, third place, somewhere around in the third and second place. But then I believe next year, 2016, they're going to take us to the World Series.
Hold you to it. 1-0 on Matt Carpenter. Missed 96 out of the zone. 2 balls, no strikes. Letterman ever throw you a curveball? Because I know that you go through the pre-interview, right? You kind of deal with topics. And say,
he throws you a curveball every time you do the show.
Really?
I don't care what you set up that you're going to talk about.
He'll go somewhere else.
He does that to me all the time, purposely.
He just waits for the reaction, waits to see the eyes glaze over a little bit.
Sure.
Well, he knows he can handle it. I don't think he would do it if he didn't think it would be fun.
You know, one time the setup was, did Frank Sinatra have a sense of humor? And there was a funny story I had about two women in a bar. But the question was, did Frank Sinatra have a sense of humor? Dave said to me, Frank was good with the babes, wasn't he? I had no idea what he was talking. My brain was going 100 different ways. And I said, yes, and he had a good sense of humor, too. And then I told the story. But he does it purposely to throw you a curveball to keep you sharp.
Sure.
I'll be doing that October 6th. I'm going to New York to do the Letterman show again.
3-1. Cardinals tied it with 3 in the 6th. Pirates won tonight, so St. Louis still has a magic number of 4 to clinch the division. That means it will not happen here at Wrigley Field. 3-2.
But didn't we witness 3 clinchers last year, and 3 different teams clinched a playoff spot or a division?
Yeah, too many.
Get a little silly. So, as a working comic still, how busy are you? I mean, you scale back? You're still grinding away? Maybe
you know, I'm on the road all the time. I always say, you know, I'm busy. Never mistake activity for achievement, but I'm busy. You know.
Open their walks.
I've been doing a one-man show around the country called An Evening of Laughter and Memories of Sinatra, where it's a 90-minute show. I do it in theaters where I do stand-up comedy, but then I segue over to a bar, and the lights go down low, and Frank comes on the screen singing. It's 2:45. There's no one in the place. And so I let that mood set in, and then the light hits me, and the audience is now in a bar with me, and I've come home, and I take them on a journey of a little boy who heard Sinatra in Harvey, Illinois on a jukebox shining shoes when I was shining shoes, and one day carrying his coffin out of a church in Beverly Hills. So I take them on that journey with a lot of laughs, with a lot of tears. So that show is keeping me busy.
I'm Jay with 2 outs, a man on. See if that holds up. It will. Ready to sing, Tom? Here we go. Tom Dreesen. Time now for the 7th inning stretch. It's brought to you by Budweiser.
For Take Me Out to the Ball Game, comedian Tom Dreesen.
Cub friends, are you ready? A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back, and we'll root for the Cubs. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Let's go, Cubbies!
Cubs batting now in the bottom of the 7th. Manus stays in. Caesar, first pitch swinging. And Holiday gets together with Jay, makes a catch in front of him. Ball pitcher gets a fly ball out.
Yeah, I was going to say, not a bad idea for Caesar to attack that pitch, because you're looking to get something up from Manis said you can, get airborne. He got 3 ground ball outs last inning, so that's the game plan against him. Get the ball up. If you see it down around the knees, let it go. That pitch was up, but Caesar just not able to do a whole lot with it.
Ryan Kalish or Ramirez. Pedro Strop will get the 8th. Ground ball, backhanded Peralta, throw to first. Nope. Kalish with an infield hit. The book on Johnny Peralta is pretty simple. If he gets a glove on it, he'll usually make a strong throw. He just had so far to go to get it that Kalish was going to beat it out. Not a ton of range, but he's pretty sure-handed there at short.
Yeah, I haven't looked recently, but earlier the advanced metrics really liked his defensive work this year.
Yes.
And he's obviously been a big plus for them offensively.
According to Baseball Reference, yes, his D-WAR, he's been worth almost 3 wins according to that number with his defense alone. Johnny Peralta, 5.9 WAR. That is,
yeah, one of the best players in the National League according to that WAR number.
Hey, you've got an anniversary, 1986. This was your big night.
Yeah,
struck out the first 8, September 23rd, 1986. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. I was waiting for the cake to come in, but recently tied by Jacob deGrom of the Mets.
You got chips last night. You chose to do them as your business.
The Salt anniversary.
Two strikes on Alcantara.
Mike Matheny has been not afraid to call Seth Maness' name lately. Recent homestand, 5 appearances in 7 days.
Down by Molina.
Kind of guy you like to have on your staff to come in a critical situation with a couple of men on base to get you a double play ground ball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Hat trick for Alcantara tonight. Shelby Miller beat him with fastballs. Maness beats him with movement and deception. This is the more typical pattern. We see soft stuff down below the knees. Troublesome for Alcantara. Proved to be a decent matchup for Baez. He had a pitch to hit there and took it. Baez better down than up, and Manis lives down around the knees.
Rizzo on deck. 1-1. Bounce right to second base. Easy play for Wong to win the inning. 3-3 after 7. Albie, thanks for tweeting that picture. That was here at Wrigley Field.
Yep.
Was that the Kerry Wood
Might
game?
have been the Kerry Wood game. I had hair and everything. Wow. Put that back up.
You looked taller back then.
Yeah. Got a little Fred Gwynn going.
I was thinking what about Brad Garrett? Maybe a little Brad Garrett going on there.
Little Kevin Nealon.
Pedro Strop. Everybody loves Deshays. That's the new show.
Ooh.
You thought the chips were a better gift, right?
I don't know. Anytime I get to see myself with hair, yeah, it's nostalgic. Need to get that little one a win.
Fastball to Holiday.
Holiday, as he has been so many times this year for the Cardinals, the offensive hero for them tonight so far in this 3-3 game. 2-run home run off Kyle Hendricks in the 6th.
That'll be a fair ball. Soler picks it up. Here's the throw to second. Just a little late. Holiday with a leadoff two-bagger.
It was so much fun to watch Soler play right field because of the big arm, the potential to make plays. And even though he doesn't get Holiday here, he plays it well, gets the carom, turns, fires a seed into second base. Holiday hustling all the way out of the batter's box has himself a leadoff double.
Yeah, his throws don't seem to tail. They're pure and true four-seamers right on the money.
Yep. Right over the top with Carey.
So trouble here for Strop. Go ahead run in scoring position. 97 down in the zone. Squibber to third. Gloved by Valbuena. And he throws to first in time. How about some Yasiel Puig from last night? Take it away, Vin Scully.
Runners not going. Shot up the middle by Arozarena. Picked up by Puig. Here comes the throw to the plate. Close. It got him. Yasiel Puig throws Belt out at the plate. A thing of beauty.
Was it ever? That one gets away, and that could be big. A wild pitch on Strop, allowing Holiday to get to within 90 feet of a Cardinal lead.
Forces the infield in. Steal a little late.
One ball, no strikes on Peralta. Here it comes. It foul.
That was a game last night that the Giants ultimately won in 13 innings.
On the hands and fouled. I guess Puig just got hit by Madison Bumgarner in the foot. And they started yelling at each other, and the benches cleared. And their game tonight. Dodgers lead 1-0 in the first.
I highly doubt that Bumgarner was trying to hit Puig, and if you are trying to hit somebody, you don't hit him in the foot.
Bumgarner said, intentional, my foot.
Of course, if you're Puig and you get hit in the foot, that hurts a lot.
Yeah.
You can understand him reacting a little bit. Strop sure could use a punch out here.
3-2 the count, infield in. Swing and a miss, strike three.
Lively fastball, 97-mile-an-hour runner, just kept on running. Hard down and in on Peralta. Tries to make a late adjustment, can't get there.
Infield back, Molina, ground ball, backhanded by Valbuena. Inning over. Strop gets out of it. The leadoff double, the wild pitch, but Holiday left at third. Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Ford, manufacturers of America's best-selling brand. Check out our best-selling lineup at your local Ford store or online at localfordstores.com. And by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Good ball game tonight. 3-3 as the Cubs will bat in the bottom of the 8th. Rizzo, Soler, Valbuena. It's left-hander Randy Choate.
Choate for Rizzo. We'll see if he stays in for Soler or not. There is action in the Cardinal bullpen. Martinez looks like he's back up and throwing. Choate, the veteran, sinker slider guy, finesse pitcher. This is how he earns his living, neutralizing dangerous left-handed bats.
Matt Kemp just hit a 2-run homer off Bumgarner. 3-0 Dodgers in the first. The bubble machine working in LA tonight. Two and 0. Fly ball deep to left. Holiday back on the track, and he's got it right in the vines. The look says it all. Rizzo just missed one.
He's done such good work this year against left-handed pitching. Bid for his 3rd hit of the night. Just misses, and that's going to do it for Choate. I mean, this is a tough pitch. Slings it up there, down around the knees. Rizzo really using that lower body to drive through that ball. Just doesn't quite get enough of it to get it out of here.
Looks like Carlos Martinez will be the man when we return. Produced by Mark Brady. Our director is Skip Ellis and Tamer Anderson, our associate producer. The executive producer of WGN Sports, Bob Vorwald. Paula Ostroba, our stage manager in the booth. Joe Pizzo is our studio coordinator. Great work by our entire crew all season long. As Carlos Martinez deals a strike on Jorge Soler.
So far, so good for the Cardinal bullpen tonight.
Swing and a miss. 0-2.
Martinez, like the relievers that preceded him, a ground ball pitcher, but a different style in that he's not a soft tosser. He can light up the radar gun. Upper 90s. Leaning heavily on the slider here against Soler.
Fouled off. Driven out toward the alley in right center. And it's going to get down. Extra bases. Soler will stop at second. Good job by Jorge Soler. He picked up his third base coach. That seems simple, but not everybody does it. Boy, there's a lot to like there. Not only the way he swung the bat, but the way he ran the bases.
Yeah. Just makes no assumptions, plays hard. He's done so many things well since coming to the big leagues. He wins the battle here, and this is a battle we're going to see a lot of over the next decade in all likelihood. Soler 22, Martinez, the hard-throwing right-hander, just 23. Soler wins that battle.
Boy, did he get ahead of steam going there?
He eats up a lot of real estate with those strides, boy. He is long-legging it.
And this is another gear when he gets around first. Watch this.
Pumping those arms. Great base running. One out in the inning. You want to give yourself a chance to get to third base if there's any little miscue out there in the outfield.
Intentionally walk Valbuena. Castillo on deck.
Mike Matheny taking his team to the postseason for the third consecutive year. Just turned 44 yesterday.
Rondon. Castillo homered his first time up. He's 1 for 3 tonight. It was a 2-run blast to start the scoring.
Started Soler with a slider. Sinker here.
Will hold. Again, a good job by Soler. He had a good read on it. He had probably got about a third of the way, 30 feet down the line toward third before he put on the brakes.
Able to knock this ball down and then quickly get after it, and that was enough to shut down Soler.
Kick. And the offering just off the inside corner. It's 2-1.
Watch Molina try to steal this one for his pitcher. And cradle it and pull it back to the plate, but it was off the plate inside.
There it is. Now that one into the Cubs dugout.
where Martinez likes to go when he's trying to get a ground ball. Two-seamer in on the hands. Molina feels like he's got him set up for a slider away here.
The end of the bat that time. Go-ahead run, Soler at second. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So 2 outs. Valaika will be called back. It'll be Chris Coghlan instead.
He doubled up with the slider. The first one was up a little bit, and Castillo able to foul it off. This time well executed, moving off the plate down below the knees. Castillo didn't really force him to throw many strikes in that sequence.
Coghlan hitting .342 since August 31st. A huge day on Saturday. 2 homers, including the game winner against the Dodgers. And he fouls to the net.
A little bit behind 97, but that running fastball away to Coghlan really plays to his strength. That's a ball he routinely hits on a line out towards left center field. 7 out of his last 13, covering 4 ball games, including a 4 for 4 with 2 long ones.
Up against it here, 0-2. Cubs at one point led 3-zip. Cardinals tied it with 3 in the 6th.
It'd be very difficult for the Cardinals to make a play on Soler at home plate on a base hit with his speed.
Martinez almost got an Adams way there at first. Inning over. We go to the 9th, tied at 3. We're treating our WGN crew tonight to a great dinner. I'm hungry again.
Yeah, we might get some of that up here now, because we might be playing 12 innings tonight.
Good stuff. Stay out of the shot there. Alcantara goes to second from center. Coghlan stays in and plays left after pinch hitting. Caesar goes to center. Rondon is the new pitcher, and as you can tell by the crowd reaction, it was either Ryan Braun or A.J. Pierzynski. And we're playing the Cardinals, so it's got to be A.J.
A.J. Signed by the Cardinals earlier this summer when Molina was down and out for a while after being let go by the Red Sox. Rondon delivering the cheese at 97.
By the way, Ricky came out just to check on that play to end the bottom of the eighth. Pitcher and the first baseman came together, lifted to left. Coghlan has it. It might have been hard to tell from the dugout who actually got the ball. If Martinez had caught it, he was not on the bag, but Adams did, and he was.
And there's your video evidence to support it.
So Adams caught the ball. Foot's on the bag. So no challenge as a result. Wong 0 for 3 tonight. That's a strike. Fastball got away.
Neshek, funky right-hander, and Rosenthal, the conventional right-hander. Bullpen coach is Blaze Ilsley out there. Former left-handed pitcher, spent some time with the Cubs.
Knocked down by Rondon. He's got plenty of time to get the out.
Finds it quickly enough. 2 quick outs. So that's kind of the norm with Rondon. It's just pretty drama-free most of his outings. Second half of the season, he has an .072 earned run average. He's faced 93 batters, allowed 15 hits. 1 double, 1 home run, the rest singles, a couple of walks. Fell off that one a little bit.
On the ground, shuffling to his right, little bobble. Alcantara makes the play. So a chance to win it here in the bottom of the ninth. Matt Caesar will lead it off. He homered earlier to lead off the 5th.
And you say Shot City? Shot City?
And it will not be Matt Caesar, as all-star right-hander Pat Neshek will work for the visitors. And then Logan Watkins will pinch hit.
Well, Neshek having an outstanding year, 139 earned run average. Funky sidearm delivery. A veteran, he's been around a while. First came up with the Twins in 06. This is his first year in a Cardinal uniform. Well, it's that changeup up there at 67 miles an hour.
Speedy Peter Borges now in center. And John Jay has gone to right. Sinker strike. No leg kick really whatsoever.
Yeah, just a funky delivery. And he gets a lot of swings and misses at his fastball. That delivery upsets the timing of the hitter. He's having a big strikeout year. Hardly walks anybody.
.70 miles an hour, and Watkins able to hold back and just get a piece of it. .67 that time on the changeup, and Molina made the catch. What a play. Boy, so few guys in this ballpark use that nook to their advantage like Molina just did. They get just a little bit too cautious in that area. You see all the paraphernalia near the batters, the on-deck circle. That's a great play.
Yeah, well, he gave himself a little room to kind of read it. He didn't have a whole lot of time. The ball wasn't in the air that long. That was one heck of a play, tiptoeing around the stuff in the on-deck circle, maintaining his concentration.
That was a great Tiny Tim hit back in the 70s. Tiptoeing around, what was it? All the stuff.
Tiptoe around the paraphernalia.
Mike Alt.
Sung in a falsetto voice.
Swing and a miss.
He might have been on the Tonight Show with Tom Dreesen sometime.
He might have. Strike 3 called. 2 away.
Neshek's worst outing of the year came against the Cubs back on August 29th. 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning.
Soler hit the moonshot off him, right?
What you have to, you see that delivery, you think, well, he doesn't throw very hard, but for a guy who throws with that sidearm delivery, he does throw hard.
Yeah, he can get up to 92.
Yeah, and then you throw that off-speed pitch at 67. It gives you a whole lot to deal with as a hitter. Most pitchers, the split between their changeup and their fastball in terms of velocity is usually like 8 to 10 miles an hour. It's like 23, 24 miles an hour different.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. We will head to the 10th. And a 3-3 tie. Well, Sabonis baseball tonight. 3-3 through 9. Cubs are 7-10 in extras. The Cardinals are 6-5. Watkins stays in and plays second. Alcantara center to second to center. And here's left-hander Zach Rosscup.
Zach sporting a 10.22 ERA through 17 ball games. There was a lot of that to one dismal outing in St. Louis. And that series we've referenced a number of times back at the end of August. He allowed 6 runs.
Good start.
2-seam and a 4-seam fastball and a slider. And back on August 30th, 3 hits, 3 walks, 6 runs. Did not retire a batter in that outing. But that was then, and this is now. Carpenter's been on base all night long. That's what he does. Couple walks, couple knocks.
Ball and 2 strikes.
Last night he struck out 3 times in the ball game, something he rarely does. He's only done that 4 times all season.
Struck him out. Here's Jay.
Rosscup at times has a tendency to jump at the hitter a little bit. He stays a little taller, stays longer over the rubber, stays back a little bit. His control is much better.
Fly ball to left. Drifting Coughlin's got it.
Kyle Hendricks gave up very little hard contact tonight, but that one was hammered by Holiday. And that's why we are tied 3-3.
Low.
Castillo hitting himself in the chest, telling Roscup, I cost you that one. He really pancaked that fastball.
I think Madison Bumgarner just won the Silver Slugger. He just homered off Zach Greinke. Travis Wood had been the top two guys in the National League.
What's the score out there?
It is 3-2 Dodgers in the third.
Good pitch.
2-2. Home run number 4 on the year for Bumgarner.
Make a living down there, Zach.
Adams on deck. Nobody on. We're in the 10th. Cup's pitch swung on and missed. Holiday strikes out. And Roscup goes 1, 2, 3 in the 10th. That's a selfie. And a photo bomb. Got it all in one. Javier Baez against Pat Neshek. Sliders strike. good swing of the bat should do it. Wind actually now is blowing out toward left.
Yeah, I know the J ball, the fly ball out there to Coghlan, carried a lot better than I thought it would when he first hit it.
Frisbee, that one, 2-1.
Frisbee from down there. So even though he's, he throws sinkers, he does a lot of work up in the zone. He's more of a fly ball pitcher than a ground ball pitcher in terms of his out distribution.
2-1. Smoke foul. Second inning of work for Neshek. 2 strikeouts. 1-2-3 ninth. Miller, Lyons, Manus, Choate, Martinez, Neshek. Cubs have used Hendricks, Grimm, Ramirez, Strop, Rondon, Ross Cub. He got him. Pretty much right down the middle.
Yeah, just bottom of the knees, heart of the plate. It has been an education for Javier Baez.
3 more strikeouts tonight.
And some would argue, well, how can you call it an education? What has he learned? He appears to be making the same mistakes, but he'll have a chance to kind of sit on this a little bit over the offseason and think about it. And there's where you hope the education kicks in, where, all right, I obviously have to make some adjustments here. Hard to do on the fly when you're in the big leagues for the first time. This kid is just 21 years of age.
He has now struck out 88 times, 48 games. The 1-1 to Rizzo. 92. And a strike. Neshek gets the sign he wants. We'll do it again. Of the wall, and it's going to be in the ivy, and actually Borges went in and pulled it out, which was a bit risky. He was lucky to find it. Winning run at second.
Just misses a game-winning home run, and Rizzo stepping out of the box like he had gotten enough of it. Comes up just a little bit short. Yeah, you see Jay putting his hands up as if to tell Borges, let it be. Borges went in and got it. Rizzo has to settle for 2.
Yeah, I thought that ball actually fell down to the ground, but it didn't. Like it was still way up there in the vines. At any rate, here's Soler. A couple of shots here to win it. Breaking ball strike. And once you reach in like Borges did, if he had then dropped the ball, Rizzo could have just kept on running. They will not give you the automatic double at that point if you reach in. The 0-1 pitch, fouled back.
Yeah, one hop, and Jay's putting the hands up saying, dead ball. Don't go get it. Borges.
I'm not sure that's the same ball. It could have been a different ball. I thought that it ended up a little lower, but whatever. A ball was thrown back to the infield. That's going to be a fair ball. Cue shot to first. Here's Valbuena.
We might be onto something here.
Well, there was a leaf that ended up. Okay, so see if we can watch the ball. So the ball. I thought it was going down. I don't know if it ever got that high. Maybe it did. Maybe it did. Better story if it didn't.
Yeah.
Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach. One other angle.
It was the Titleist when it went in. It might have been a Callaway when it came out.
Okay, yeah. It's the same ball. They will intentionally walk Valbuena and face Castillo.
Second time they've used this strategy tonight. In the 8th, it was with Soler on second and 1 out, so it set up a double play possibility. Castillo struck out, Coghlan grounded out to end the inning. Here, it's just a matter of preferring to try to finish the inning with Castillo as opposed to Valbuena. Walks the lefty to get to the righty. Neshek's been good against left-handed hitters this year.
Valbuena will take off for second. Defensive indifference. Just stay out of that force play, but at this point he really can't advance. Ball, Borges going after it. Cubs are going to win it. Cubs win. Castillo knocks in his third of the night. 4-3 the final in 10. Be careful, guys. Don't get hurt.
Like they won the World Series.
Didn't know the celebration, including throwing the rosin bag.
Yeah, well,
at the
that's
guy.
a new one. Wellington, he's saying, hey, you can walk that guy in front of me, I'm going to make you pay. Borges, tremendous speed out there in center field, but he was very shallow. Couldn't run that one down. Rizzo with the 1-out double scores the game winner.
So the Cubs a winner and a chance for a series win tomorrow night.